Well, good evening, sim racing fans. Thank you for tuning in. We are at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the car, the weapon of choice for round 4 of the Free Car Cup by Sim Party Racing is the VW Beetle. Oh yeah. Prepare yourself for an epic 30-minute sprint race with these quality drivers driving this quality Volkswagen Beetle. It's going to be epic. And talking of epic, let's go on with Danny Dunn, who's just set the fastest lap in practice so far for 1 minute 16.56. Danny Dunn. Looks like Danny's gone for a spin. He's going somewhere else. So let's have a look at Roderick Eskew then. Whole second behind for 1 minute 17. So he's got a little bit of time to find as Roderick, if he wants to get that P1 in the championship table from Ash Dainty. For the viewers just joining us here, we can have a look at the championship table there, and there you have it. Ash Dainty currently leads 29 points. P2 Roderick Eskew 23 points, and Andrew Hooker there tying with Osley Beattie with 17, followed not far behind with Luke Saunders, Chris Forrester and Matt Holhouse. So the drivers now have 15 minutes of free practice, followed by 15 minutes of open qualifying, which always makes qualifying more interesting, rather than the typical standard iRacing out lap, 2 laps, wham bam, thank you ma'am. No, we do 15 minutes of open qualifying. Oh look, there goes a cone there. BT launching that cone into space. After your 15 minutes of open qualifying, we then go into 30 minutes of pure...
How in the world are you driving a 115?
Awesome, epic racing in this VW Beetle. And that's that radio message there.
That makes like 0 sense.
That radio message there is for Denny Dunn, who has just done, as you've been informed, a 1 minute 15.63. Denny Dunn now nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than Eskew. BT just coming in with a 1 minute 18. I expect BT to drop that a little bit. I don't think he's going to be that far away from Dunn. I have to wait and see. Going to be looking at the liveries tonight. As usual, is the separate competition for best livery. So we'll be having a look at those, probably more so in practice and qualifying. So now's a good time with just over 6 minutes to go in practice. Dunn and SQ both in the pits at the moment. So let's have a look at BT sporting that Trachian livery there. Trachian, if you don't know, is I suppose you can call it an association or a club, a group, cult. No, it's an organisation which is really set up, I think, by sim racers, for sim racers. Got some really good stuff on their website. You can go check it out. I think some of the drivers have promote Traxion. Don't know how you pronounce it actually. Why can't we just have names that are easy to pronounce every single week? Traxion. Someone Google it. Tell me how to pronounce it. Let's have a look at Mattis Niger there. Yeah, go have a look at the Traxion website. It's just full of sim racing stuff. To be honest, it's yeah, just full of it. If you're into sim racing, love sim racing, whether you do it or you watch it, go check it out. Dave Cam, he's recently signed up and does some Twitch streaming for them. It's always worth watching Dave Cam. So Mattis Niger there, he's done a 1 minute 21 on his last lap. He's not much better than his best lap, to be honest. Is 1 minute 21.34 being his best. Field quite spread out here. I don't know how much practice has been done during the week, but we'll find out. I say good evening to everyone watching the stream. Yeah, good. Hello to Dan, Rich. Welcome, guys. Let's have a look at Nate Jordan's livery there. Looks like a more appropriate livery for a VW Beetle. Well, that joke could have gone a lot better before they released the new VW Beetle a few years ago, but until then, that's pretty much what every VW Beetle looked like. Rust bucket. But a much loved and cherished car. Now Matthew Green is not commentating this evening. He's elected to drive this evening. Judging by that last clip there, he probably might want to come into the commentary box. So Matt Green there in the 33 car. Oh dear. Where's he going? Nowhere. Nice livery though, have a look at that later. Matt Holhouse. That's quite far down the pecking order at the moment. He hasn't actually set a lap as yet, so I'll keep an eye on that and see what he's doing. And as I say that, Denny Dunn's done a flat 1 minute 15. So if you're wondering how on earth he was managing to get into the 115s, well, he's just managed to flatline a 115, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 114.9 out of Denny before tonight is over. Now Roderick's out of the pits, we can have a look at his car tonight. You like that livery? In fact, let me know in your comments what you think of the liveries tonight. You can give me a hand, try and pick a winner. Dan is here for the Osley BT fan train. I have to say that it is a nice livery. It's a nice livery, that. I like the colours. Very pretty. BT has managed to move himself up to P3. Pretty much neck and neck between BT and SQ. Dunn still 2 seconds a lap faster than the pair of them, so there's a lot of work there for the rest of the field to do to catch up with Dunn. Mateusz Sulik, he's just gone into the pits there, so we'll leave Sulik and go on with Nate Jordan. Nate has managed to set a time so far of a 1 minute 24. I do like that rust bucket livery. I think that's for the 78 car. I think that's quite creative, quite thoughtful. Paul Grazer is going to be in the 912 car. Have a closer look at that livery in a second. He's sponsoring Flex Seal, whoever they are. And Michael Schulling. Very similar livery to Matt Green. There's a lot going on in that car. A lot going on. Have a look on board now with Michael as he navigates around Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of my favourite circuits, I do have to say. It is a slightly different track configuration for those of you who are sort of more used to your NASCAR sort of oval type races. It is using a very unique track configuration, one that you've probably not come across too much. And there we go, there's the end of practice. So what's going to happen now, we're going to go into 15 minutes of open qualifying, and let's just see, is Daniel Rowe, Matthias Suluk all coming out of the pits. Daniel Rowe, the first car out there. There he is. Daniel, look, we've even got a picture of Daniel. And Daniel there from the US of A. He's going to be quite keen to set an early lap. So Rich, Joe and Dan, are we all here for BT? Is that what we're saying here? Is there anyone here that's not for Osley BT? I mean, there's only 4 people watching the stream, so, you know, I've just mentioned 3 names. And I swear there's always one viewer that YouTube gives you just to make you feel better. So let's have a look at someone who we haven't looked at so far. So Andrew Hooker. Andrew Hooker, that's a nice livery. That's a showroom livery, that one. That is the sort of livery you find when you go to Volkswagen Milton Keynes. You'll find that in the showroom. You've got to drive that away for £22,000 and pay extra for the 3-year servicing on top, prepaid. They're probably throwing some car mats with you as well with that livery. It's a nice livery, matte grey. A livery you won't find in the showroom is the one that Michael Schilling is driving with. You definitely won't find that in the showroom. Yeah. And Max Crowther, he's snuck into qualifying. Max, he's obviously just joined. He's just joined the session, which is why he wasn't in practice. But straight away he's gone out and he's managed to set a 170 SQ, managing to get a 115.95. Just slightly ahead of Dunn there, who's gone out on his first lap of a 1 minute 16. And with qualifying now applying that pressure to the drivers, you can see the lap times just starting to get a lot closer together now. Daniel Rowe moving up to P3 for 1 minute 16. I've never driven the Volkswagen Beetle in iRacing, I have to admit. Not something I've thought about, but it is one of the free cars you get with your iRacing subscription. And as this is the free car cup, of course we're going to use it. And Daniel Rowe there is going to the he's going to the pits, just coming back out again. So Matthew Green, have a look at that livery. Oh no, he's towed away. You can't look at that livery. We'll look at it in a minute. There it is. Matthew Green. There's even more going on with that car. Osley BT. Currently on P7 BT. He's going to have to put the work in now to set a half decent lap time, because he's used to being up on the front row and just behind it. So he's got a bit of work to do, BT. Have a look at the cockpit of the Volkswagen Beetle there. There's not really much to look at, I guess. I wonder how many people are going to not make that chicane. So the track configuration for tonight's race, as I said, is one that you're probably not overly familiar with. There's going to be a lot of, as Dan's just said, a lot of cone murders. And Max Crowther there, sneaking into qualifying with no practice and just setting the fastest lap of qualifying so far of a 1 minute 15.91. Now we know Dunn has already done a 1 minute 15, so we know he can produce a lap time nearly a second faster. So we have to keep an eye on that. But Max Crowther there putting himself on provisional pole position at the moment. I expect Dunn to come back in response to that. In the meantime, while Dunn has a think about it, Eskew has put himself onto provisional pole of a 1 minute 15.6. That's obviously good enough for him as he just pulls off the track, stops to have a think about how good his lap time was, and then into the pits. You've got the metallic number 327 of Mattis Niger. Now he's done a 1 minute 16.7, so he's moved himself up to P5. BT up one position into P6. And if you're feeling a little bit peckish, well, we can just have a ride on board with Ash Dainty there, sponsoring the Dunkin' Donuts. But I think I might actually have a donut in the cupboard downstairs. If I go quiet for longer than 20 seconds, you will know where I've gone. Those of you who are interested in a little bit of facts, knowledge around this the VW Beetle, it's pretty much a car that can do quite a lot in iRacing. It does some of the more rallying type racing. It's a 4-cylinder engine, 560 horsepower, can do 0 to 60 in just 2 seconds. 6-speed gearbox. It is like driving go-kart, stroke buggy, stroke family car, and it is, I guess, one of those just sort of fun, unique cars in iRacing. I haven't driven it personally, so I can't comment. But I know Matt's been dying to get it into the Free Car Cup League, so we'll see what tonight holds for it. Nate Jordan currently in P13, got 14 drivers this evening. And then leading the back of the pack is Michael Schilling, who's only set a 1 minute 22, so he's got a little bit of time he can improve. So just over 6 minutes. Andrew Hooker is still in the pits. He's still only made it to P11. With Roderick Eskew still holding on to provisional P1. But I can see that Max Crowther is now out of the pits. He's going to be doing his out lap. I imagine Max is probably fueled for 2, maybe 3 laps maximum, but probably just 2 laps of fuel. And who's that spinning in front of us? That might be Daniel Rowe. Oh, Matthias Suluk. Apologies, who's just going off there. So Eskew's just got a little over 5 minutes to try and hold on to pole position. But do watch Max Crowder here, because I very much suspect that Max is going to be able to eke out a few more tenths and take that. And surprise of qualifying so far is Dunn, who's only managed a 1 minute 16.13 so far in qualifying. We know he can do a 1 minute 15, so just depends, I guess, how hard he's pushing it to get that. Seeing that timer counting down. He can overtake. Oh, he's just been clipped there, so yeah, that's just turned him. So he's going to quickly tow back to the pits. Or is he going to try and carry on? I'm now going to quickly get into the pits. They'll have time to do an out lap and at least one more flying lap, but it's a little bit unlucky for Dunn. Just got tagged at the rear, and that's going to add to the pressure there for him to try and get pole position, which he knows he can get. He knows he's already set the time that can get pole position, and as I speak, Crowder sets a time of 1 minute 15.34. Yeah, Dunn. He's going to have to do some work here. Crowder just towing back to the pits. Don't know why he towed back to the pits then. He's gone back to the pits anyway. He's come back out. He's going to get one more time lap in certainly. Denny Dunn has got a lot of work to do now. He knows he can get pole position. His lap times have already said that in practice. He knows he can do that. But he is going to have to push hard, and he's going to have to push hard without picking up any incident points. Those of you who know, if you do pick up a 1x on your qualifying lap on one of your flying laps, iRacing will not count that lap towards your it won't accept the lap, so it will disqualify the lap, in other words. And those of you who are on the Osley Beatty train, you'll be pleased to hear that he's just put himself up to P2. He's going back out again. He's gonna, yeah, he probably will just get one lap in. Try again, but he has moved himself up to P2 for 1 minute 15.58. So he's only 0.02 of a second off Crowder. Vescu just 1/100th of a second away from Beatty. So the top three now, top four, Daniel Rowe, top four, all separated by just a couple of hundredths of a second. So that's going to be interesting if things stay the way they are. I expect Denny Dunn to try, well, I expect him to also get into the 1 minute 15s. He's only got 50 seconds to do it. Beatty there, looking for that tenth or 0.2 of a second around the circuit to get pole position. His top speed is 1 kilometre faster than Crowder. That could be the 1 kilometre that he needs to get pole position. Oh, a little bit of a drift there. Oh, no, the back end's gone. No, and that's going to be it for BT. He's not going to have enough time. Qualifying has now finished, so he's going to park it with the old Bojangles. And Max Crowder, pole position in the 99 car. And there are some drivers who, for this week, I think the league coordinator, I think Matt Green, has removed some of the drivers who haven't taken part in the season so far. I do believe there are some driver number changes, so apologies if I see a number and immediately call out a name that has changed, because my list, I haven't managed to update it for this evening. So if I do call out a number, call out a name, and it's wrong, I am sorry. And Beatty there thought he had P2. However, Denny Dunn has just beaten Beatty to P2, matching an identical lap time of a 1 minute 15.58. So as iRacing finalises the grid positions, and we start to get ready for this 30-minute sprint race this evening. A reminder that we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Track temperature, if you can't see it, if you're using a mobile device and trying to zoom in and pinch and squint at some of the details on your screen, I can tell you now that the track temperature is 31 degrees. So not too hot, should be plenty of grip out there. It is clear. Matt hasn't thrown any curve balls this evening. It's not suddenly going to get dark. There won't be a tornado coming over the circuit at any time, and there's no streakers that have been booked for tonight either, so it should be a fairly straightforward, good grippy race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as the drivers start to grid up, there's the confirmation of the positions there. Max Crowder on pole position, and Denny Dunn right behind him, and we know Denny has set a faster lap time than Max this evening, so watch out for these two in the first couple of corners. Osley BT P3, SQ P4, and then followed by Daniel Rowe, Mattis Niger, Matt Holhouse, Ash Dainty, Matthias Sulik, Paul Grazer, Andrew Hooker, Matthew Green, and we are away. And here we go into turn 1. Keep an eye on the drivers here between Dunn and Crowder. Oh, Dunn has got a much better exit out of that one. He's trying to take the inside line, and he's just pushed Crowder wide there. And I think he might have just got away with that, because I think Dunn came off slightly worse there in that little instant, but he just got a better exit out the last corner. Managed to get up the inside of Max, but then he just outbraked himself a little bit, went quite deep, just pushing Max wide off the circuit. But in the ensuing incident, managed to sort of get a little bit of snap there as well, so he was slow to recover, and Max managed to regain that position without too much further incident. Be prepared for an epic battle between Crowder and Dunn this evening. There goes the first murder of the cone. BT still in P3 position, and looks like Paul Grazer's going into the pits. Don't know why Graze has gone into it. It doesn't say. And I think we're hearing Daniel Rowe has just crashed, but we're going to stay on board here because Denny Dunn has just done a superb overtake on Max Crowder there. He murdered the cone in the process, but he did manage to get the overtake done. I'll have a look at the crash here. There's Daniel Rowe. Let's see what happened. Oh, he's not really a crash, is it? Just clip the wall. So there you go. So Dunn has now got past Max, and is already nearly 2 seconds ahead of him. So we've got this battle here. For P4, P5 and P6. Roderick Eskew there, the number 12 car, just defending from Matt Holhouse, who's lining up a move, and Eskew can see him lining up a move. Just keeping it a little bit tighter on corner entry there, Holhouse. This particular track configuration at Charlotte does mean that if you do get your corners right, you can overtake, you can make moves. It is not a high-speed circuit at this configuration. It is all about hitting those apexes and controlling the car through the corners. And as we can see up front, there's Beatty there starting to battle with Crowther. So I don't know if Crowther's just... I don't know if he's experiencing a little bit of difficulty there. He's certainly murdering a lot of cones, so he's just clipped the wall there as he's come out of the chicane. He's done well to get away with that. It is literally, I mean, I feel sorry for the cones this evening. Should be a cone counter in the top right hand corner. How many cones get murdered during tonight's race? But yeah, this circuit tonight is all about how you handle the car in and out of the corners. And just going to go back and have a look at Michael Schilling here, who, well, the system's saying he's crashed, but I can't see it. He's still going. So, oh, that was someone else who did crash. And it looks like it's possibly Daniel Rowe. Let's have a look. I think it was Daniel Rowe. Oh yeah, just getting... Oh, and actually he's... so unlucky that one, because he actually collected... the car he... yeah, it was Michael Schilling he collected in that. So Michael Schilling, he is up to P12 though, he's made up 2 positions. Daniel Rowe having to go into the pits. He will have a fast repair though, and if he's smart he would have put his fuel in, and so his mandatory pit stop will be now completed. He is going to be a lap down on the leader, who is Denny Dunn. Just did a 1 minute 18 on his last lap. The lap times are pretty sporadic from the drivers on the last laps. The gaps are starting to open up now between them. Roderick Eskew, who's lost the position from the start, he's down in P5. He's got Matt Holhouse for company there, right behind him. Matt, who did move himself up one position, qualified P7, he's now into P6. He's lining up a move for P5 there. A lot of sliding, that's been mentioned already in the comments. There's a lot of sliding these cars to get the initial turn in. So I haven't driven this car before myself, so I don't know if that's normal. I suspect it probably is. These cars are used on some of the dirt configurations on iRacing. And this is the battle for third place. Is Osley Beatty just over a second behind Mattis Niger. But while he's trying to figure out how he can get past Niger, he's also going to have to defend against SQ, who's moved himself back up to P4. And oh, Beatty there, I think he just outbraked himself a little bit. And that's enabled SQ to get past and overtake. That's going to frustrate the Traxian driver, who now has Matt Holhouse right on his rear end. And Holhouse there taking a really tight inside line, and he's holding that line as well. And if anything, Beatty probably just pushed him a little bit quicker. And I wouldn't be surprised if Beatty has to come into the pits in a minute. His car doesn't seem to be responding the same way as the other drivers. He seems to be struggling a little bit more in the Beetle there. Looking at the bonnet, it does look a little bit crumpled up. Taking a couple of hits there, as you can see from your cameras. Not showing the best side to that VW Beetle, so I wonder if he will come into the pits. And yeah, he does. He's going to come into the pits. He's going to get the fast repair, refuel, and come back out. Just wonder if one of those earlier incidents just caused him a few problems. So Beatty there just dropping down the order at the moment. He's going to come out probably P9. Yeah, he'll come out in P9. But the only driver ahead of Beatty who has pitted is Max Crowther. So all the other drivers ahead will have to pit. Yeah, I think he did overcook it a little bit. Just pushed it a little bit too much down. Took a bit of damage at the front and then struggled with the handling a little bit. So I don't know if he had any damage that he was feeling in the car. Oh, who's that there? That's Daniel Rowe. Daniel, he's just drifting that car around this circuit. I don't know if that's gonna, well, certainly Denny Dunn's managed to get himself safely past Rowe there, who is a lap down. But there was some serious drifting there by Daniel Rowe. But I'm not entirely sure that's... Last lap time was a 1:34, and his best lap time so far is a 1:34 that's been accepted. I'm not entirely sure that's the fastest line to take round Charlotte. Just wondering if this is going to end badly in a minute. When I say a minute, I mean 2 seconds. Now I think Daniel's going to be towing back to the pits there, and he's currently P14. So Denny Dunn now has got 14 seconds, and he's coming into the pits. Dunn, he's got a 14-second lead over Mattis Niger. But Mattis is going to have to pit himself. And Eskew there, right behind Niger. He's also going to have to pit. So they're all coming into the pits now. That whole house also coming into the pits. So Dunn will be the first one to come out. There's a pit stop time of 29 seconds nearly. Compared to, it's quite a long pit stop for Dunn. Crowther, who pitted earlier, was 8 seconds faster in the pits than Dunn. So that's actually given him, he's caught up by 8 seconds now. He's only 2 seconds behind Dunn, so it hasn't worked out too well for Dunn. I don't know why there's an unusually long pit stop. Most of the other drivers' pit times are around the sort of between the 20.05 for BT. He's got a nice spanking new bonnet there, all been polished up, looking spick and span, thanks to that fast repair. And he managed 20 seconds, nearly a 20-second flat pit stop. In fact, the fastest pit stop of the race so far is Osley BT, so we're going to be hoping his fuel calculations are right. But that would have gained him time on everyone above him, including Crowther, who just comes second in the pit stop times with a 20.60. And Crowther is back in the pits again. I don't know what's happened to Max, if he's had an incident. It's not showing on the screen that he's had an incident. I don't know what's happened there. It's a very quick pit stop, so I don't know if he did touch the wall. The problem with the incident event screen with the broadcasting system we use is that you do have to set. It works on an algorithm for your driver's lap times, last lap times. Oh, that was lucky there. I think who was that? It was Nate Jordan. Just starting to reverse back. Crowther saw him, went wide. I think Nate also saw him, stopped. That was lucky. But yeah, so you have to set the timings right for the event system to pick up whether or not someone's crashed. It's all based on their sudden delta time and how much time they lose around the track. So around this particular track configuration, there could be drivers who do hit the wall at some speed, cause a lot of damage, but the system doesn't necessarily recognise that as an incident. But something definitely happened to Max Crowther, because he's now been in the pits twice and he's now down in P5. So let's just recap now. So Dunn is currently leading the race, but he's got a 17-second gap to Mattis Niger, who just under 2 seconds ahead of Osley BT, who is hunting him down as we speak. But he's not closing the gap enough. And we're just over halfway here in this 30-minute sprint race. One of the close battles we got here is Paul Grazer on Matthew Green in that purple and blue car. I do like the livery that Matt's done. I don't want to be biased, just because Matt's an SPR driver and community moderator. But I have to say, I really do like that livery. But let me know what you think in the comments. Dan, I think if Dan says, I think he's enjoying himself now he's lapped. Is that regarding Daniel Rowe? Because it did look like Daniel Rowe, who's now been in the pits for over 5 minutes. I'm presuming Daniel's is not going to continue this evening. But yeah, I think he was Probably just having a little bit of fun. There goes another cone there. There's one murder to Matt. And as we spit, there's another cone being murdered. This time by Matthias Sulik, who's down in P13 and might get the award for the best drift of the race so far. That's some pretty awesome drifting, I have to say. Quite controlled as well. Again, I'm not entirely sure if that's the fastest way around this circuit, but it might be the most fun. So Nate Jordan's managed to make up a position from qualifying. He's up one position only to P12. And he's going to be 19 seconds behind Michael Schilling there, who he himself moved up 3 positions into P11. And we're just hearing that I think Mattis Niger's crashed. Let's have a look. Let's see what happened to Mattis there. Again, I don't think the event logs, particularly for this circuit, are working particularly well. Yeah, so he's had a bit of a spin. He's got himself back going again, so Roger Gescu the same. System's telling us that he's had an incident, so we'll see what's happened here. And okay, so there we go. So BT's got himself involved in an incident here, so we can have a look at this. This looks like it involves more than one driver. So looks like he's been tagged there by Matt Holhouse. And go back and have another look at that. Yeah, so just go on board. Just go on board here. Have a look at this, because. So apologies, my event system isn't working properly tonight. So Matt Holhouse there, it's gone a little bit deep. He's tagged BT from the rear and spun him. And the problem with this now is that Holhouse has managed to get turned around and going again, but BT there is just ended up tagging another driver and then just getting himself all out of position, having to 3-point turn it or 4-point turn it. I think there's an invisible barrier here, which you can see, which iRacing doesn't allow you to go any further, so he's obviously just got himself caught up there. And I'm just wondering if we have another look at that. Just want to know how BT how did BT get himself into that? So he gets tagged, and then I think he's tried to go into that sort of service road to turn around, and I think the problem is iRacing have got the invisible barriers there, so you can't actually drive any further. So he's trying to turn around, and what's happened is he's having to do a 5-point turn, and that's disappointing for BT because he's now down into P7 and lost 4 positions. We'll have a look at the incident again after the race and have a look at that. It looks like Holhouse has just gone in too deep and just tapped him from behind, but the knock-on effect of that means that BT lost a massive amount of time there because of what happened in the service road. So it's you got to look at the incident, not just the consequence. So we'll have a look at the incident. It was an unfortunate tap. It didn't look malicious from those angles, but we'll have a look at it at the end of the race. So the drivers now really spread out. There's Ash Dainty and Roderick Eskew there, probably the closest drivers on track at the moment. Just under a second separating them. I think I might actually have to load up a test drive tomorrow and stick myself in the VW Beetle, because these cars look quite fun to drive. I think they're probably more designed for the dirt circuits, so I don't know how they're handling on a road circuit, but there is a dirt configuration at Charlotte, but that would have made too much sense to use, and I don't know if the dirt configuration is one of the free tracks or not, so Osley Beatty's just gone back into the pits, and he's going to be coming back out in P7, just behind Matt Holhouse. And this could get a little bit tasty here. So Matt Holhouse has gone off track. Beatty's got past him, and now we've got Deja Vu, Groundhog Day. We have Matt Holhouse right behind Osley Beatty here, and this could get a little bit interesting because Beatty's best lap time at the moment is a 1:18.83, and there we go, Holhouse taking the inside line and getting past Beatty. Holhouse has managed the top speed of 201 kilometers an hour. Beatty has only managed 169. So it's quite a significant difference there. 169 kilometers an hour top speed compared to 201. Both drivers, Holhouse and Beatty, have now pitted twice, but Holhouse already pulling out a 2 second lap, or sorry, 2 seconds gap ahead of Beatty there. So I don't know. We have to talk to Osley later and just see what's going on for him tonight, because he just doesn't seem comfortable in the car. I've seen him drive quite a few times now, and it just doesn't seem to be his combination this evening. Let's have a look at some of the replays here, because we've got Ash Dainty. Apparently the donut has crashed, so just have a look, see what happens here. Oh, lock up, yep. And he just tags the back end of Rodriguescu, who manages to carry on relatively unscathed there. So Dainty making his second trip into the pits. Max Crowder, who's been into the pits 3 times this evening, has managed to get himself back up to P2, but he's still now 30 seconds behind the leader, that is Denny Dunn. Dunn right out in front there. Apologies, we're still on replay mode. We're riding with Matters now, because he is only, or just over a second behind Crowder. And looking at the lap times, well, lap 18 was because, I'm presuming, it's because Max went in the pits again. But the other lap times quite sporadic there. That is one of the things around this circuit, is the lap times aren't particularly consistent for any driver. Except possibly Denny Dunn. What's happened to Max here? Okay, so Matters has managed to get past Max here. So have a look. Ah, okay, so Max has obviously hit the wall. Again, that didn't show up on the event scanner, so you can't go back and immediately have a look at what happened to Max there, but he obviously just exited the corner, ran wide, and he's damaged the front left of that car again. So with only 3 minutes left, let's see if he can carry on. He's got 20 seconds gap to SQ in P4, and that gap does seem like it is maintaining. So I think Max will just carry on now and just see if he can hold on to a podium place in P3. I don't think he's going to catch Niger, who does seem to be pulling away. I know Max is going to be pushing that car to the limit to try and get P2 back. He just needs to be careful though, because he does have a podium at the moment, and if he cocks this up, he's going to lose that quite quickly to Ash Dainty and Roderick Eskew, who are also battling for P4. Want to say, have a look at Matthew Green there, who's only a couple of seconds behind Matthew Hooker. But the closest battle in these closing laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway is Roderick Eskew and Ash Dainty. You can see the donut catching. That donut is getting quicker. Dainty's last lap time was 0.02 of a second quicker than Eskew's. His top speed is 3 kilometers an hour faster than Eskew, so if he keeps it tight, he could take P4. Eskew's got Dainty in his rear view mirror, but he's also cannot ignore the fact that Crowder is coming closer and closer and closer to him as Max seems to be going off track quite a few times, trying to push that car, get it to P2, but that's going to be a lost cause now. He's 10 seconds behind Niger. And there's Denny coming round for one more lap. As SQ got enough, he got enough juice in the tank to hold off the donut of Ash Dainty for just, and that's pretty much sealed it, I would have thought. Where's Ash going? He's not only is he going to not get P4, but he's now going to have to battle on the last lap for P5. As Matt Holhouse there takes full advantage of Ash Dainty sliding it into the wall. And there we have it. Denny Dunn is going to be your race winner for this evening. Right behind Osley Beatty there, who would have been a lap down, or would have been a lap car had that had completed just before the checkered flag. And Dunn will commence the donuts. Congratulations, Denny. That's a good race win for him. We're going to work out the championship table later this evening. Where's he going? He's going to cut all the grass, is he? Denny Dunn then, who's currently sitting P12 in the championship because he hasn't taken part in all the races, he's going to move himself up significantly after that race win. Ash Dainty, who finishes P6, well, he's going to have to look at the points actually this evening. It's going to be, I think the championship table is going to change quite a lot. Can't do the maths in my head at the moment, but with Eskew finishing ahead of Dainty, that's going to change things significantly. Andrew Hooker, who's currently joint P3, well, it's P3, P4, Andrew Hooker, Osley Beatty in the championship table, so those positions are going to change around. Osley Beatty will move himself up to P3 in the table, even with that disappointing result. But yeah, with Matt Holhouse there, who's sitting P7 in the championship, he's got a good result, P5 today. So we get the championship table updated this evening or tomorrow morning. That'll be on the website simpartyracing.com. Congratulations, Danny. Let's see if we can go over to Discord now, and we'll see if we can have a chat with some of the guys taking part tonight.
He's now a lap behind.
Yeah, it's because I was doing donuts while people were still racing.
I think even you were still racing though.
No, it's checkered.
How did you get DQ'd though?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's mark this as it was fun to try it once. Let's never do it again.
Yes.
Are you talking about the VW or are you talking about this track configuration?
Not so much the track as the Beetle on this track.
Well, the Beetle is a dirt car in iRacing, am I not? I mean, I've never driven it myself. It's more of a dirt car, isn't it?
You are correct.
Yeah, it's rallycross.
Very much. It's a rallycross. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looked
That'll
like
be the only-
it looked like a lot of you very inconsistent lap times by most of you, to be honest. So obviously, you know, the car was, I'm presuming, was quite. If you got it hooked up on a lap, great, but more often than not, it wasn't always the case.
I would agree.
Well, at least one of you did. Congratulations, Denny.
He didn't win.
Thank you.
Mattis did.
Yeah, that's just one.
Then he got disqualified for driving backwards, I think.
Oh, did he?
After
Okay.
checkered.
Yeah.
Oh,
After
okay.
checkered, I did donuts.
I saw the
DQ'd.
donuts. Was watching them, but did iRacing disqualify you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't come up on the That
come
doesn't
up
come
anyway.
up. No, it doesn't come up on
Yeah.
the event screen.
Just clear them to black, and then maybe it'll put me back up there.
It's
This
that's
is your lap down.
7th.
But I promise you, it was checkered when I went by the line.
well, he crossed the line.
I think it has to be everyone crosses the line before
Oh wait,
you do donuts.
did you get disqualified on instant points?
No, I only had like 4.
Okay, if you went backwards, yeah, because I think the incident points count in iRacing until the last car crosses the line.
Oh, so now I got 8.
Okay, that's an interesting one to resolve.
Record for instant points.
It's,
That's 2 times in a row, Blake. Blake's like, do some donuts. And I was like, I was about to reset.
I think
And then
most
last time he goes, put it in neutral, and I spun out.
I think most drivers, if I'm being honest, they sort of do a like a formation lap at the end and then they start doing donuts. Probably for that very reason. We can have a look at some of the incidents if you want. If you want to jump on the stream, whoever's interested, we can stick it on and yeah, we can just have a look at some of these incidents. I think I know there's one incident which I know is going to be a little bit contentious, so I won't comment on it during this point. I know I think Matt just tagged Osley, and then Osley got caught up in a service road, with some invisible fencing, which sort of just,
Yeah.
I was watching that on the stream. That was
He
painful.
apologised. I know he didn't do it on purpose, so it's all good.
I mean, I was actually watching the incident, replayed it a few times, and it looked like one of those sort of tags which are quite common, but the consequences for you were just it was painful. It was absolutely painful to watch because you could see
Yeah.
the car banging against the invisible wall, and it was just I mean the amount of time he lost was just well that was just the race over really. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was certainly it just looked like. I mean, looking at Matt's lap times as well, just from my perspective, looking at both, it didn't look malicious from my point of view. It just looked like it was just
Oh god,
unfortunate.
no.
But it just looked like, I mean, what happened afterwards was just, like I said, it was just painful to watch because you could just see you banging off that wall, and it was an invisible wall, so it was just, I felt sorry for you, to
Yeah.
be honest. I felt really sorry.
It's alright. It wasn't intentional at all.
It's
No, I braked and braked and braked, and then I was like, I'm just going to tap him. And then I slowed right down because I was going to let you pass, but I was looking in the mirrors, and you were just sort of, I don't know what happened, really.
No, it was one of those annoying taps that any other time it would have just it wouldn't have even caused any of you to go off or do anything. It just spun round, and then the sensible thing was to get off track and turn around, which Ozzy did, except he went into that area of iracing, which obviously hasn't been. It looks like it's there, but it's not. So I was gutted for you. There was quite a few incidents though. I mean, most of them were just cones that got murdered. There's one there. There's just cones flying everywhere. I think I've got a couple of favourites for delivery. Drifting, there was some excellent drifting going on in the whole race. I have to say, I think Daniel did some really great drifting, but I think he was doing drifting on his way out of deciding to retire from the race. Is Daniel on?
I'm not sure.
No,
I think he's with us.
I think he was doing some amazing drifting, but then I think it was pretty much just because he was coming into the pits to retire. So this track configuration is going to be so annoying because you can't really. It's just showing us everything's a bloody incident. So it's going to be quite difficult to review them around here. Matt, which track configuration is this?
Legends RC.
Okay. Apologies, I didn't look at that before I started the broadcast. So I know it was really different to what I'm used to at Charlotte. But there was some really good driving though. Really good driving, really good moves. It was all about the corners. The corner entry was just key round here. Just getting that car turned in well, holding the lines and just getting a better. I mean, it was actually a really fun race to watch. I appreciate it was probably not. There you go. There's two cones murdered, double tap. But
I'm in the minority, but I really like that car.
do you know what? It made me want to actually go and try it. Watching you guys racing
You've got to slow down and get the front in, but then it's all sort of about the throttle, which I quite like.
Yeah, it actually made me want to just try it because it actually just looked fun. I mean, I appreciate it probably wasn't fun for a lot of you, but it did look. It did look
a great
fun.
time.
Yeah, because if you were in sort of no man's land, you could just drift it to your heart's content.
And
Whereas
not worry
normally you
about
just
who
sort
was
of
on the
plod
inside,
around,
inside or
There's a
outside
big gap
of
in
you.
front, a big gap behind, you just get a bit bored. But
Yeah, my last
with
couple
that
of
car, you
laps,
could
that's
just
all I
drift
did.
it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I literally was doing that for the last 5 laps of just drifting.
There was a big Osley, if you're still on. There was a big difference in top speed between you and a lot of you around. So I mean, from the system recorded your top speed about 40 kilometers less than most other people.
I'm just really bad.
I mean, well, the thing is, you're not. You normally, you it just didn't. I mean, watching you drive around it compared to the others, you just didn't seem like you felt comfortable in the car. I don't know if that's a fair
No, I
reflection,
absolutely hate it.
Yes.
More than the V last week, actually. And I really didn't get along with that at all. It's I've never driven in it before either. I've never done rallycross, and it just felt absolutely unnatural to me.
Yeah.
But I did about like 4 or 5 hours of practice overall, I think, and just still couldn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if the system was wrong, because say the events and stuff is just this particular track configuration, it throws it out a little bit.
Yeah.
The way just the algorithms work with delta times and things that it uses to calculate incidents and just bits and pieces. But yeah, your top speed according to the system was 40 kilometers an hour slower than pretty much anyone else in the top 10.
Hmm.
So
Does it say which lap it is?
no, just it records just the top speed that anyone reaches during the race.
Okay.
So you were just like somewhere over the race. You know, at some point, everyone was 40 kilometers a lap faster than you, basically. So, you know.
Fair enough.
Is that a damage thing? Because sometimes if you get damaged, it takes some top speed off, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just over the duration of the race. I mean, even with when you pit, you get the fast repair. It was just he didn't record according to the system, which it looks strange, to be honest. I mean, it might just be an error, but you know, his top speed was just 40 kilometers less than anyone else. So, but again, it could be a system error. You know, it's it was saying people were crashing and they were just touching the wall. So it's
Well, I'll just I'll take that feedback back to the team and see what we can do back at the factory. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and honestly, these fans are just amazing. We've got the best fans here. Thank you, guys.
Do you know what that is? That's like when you have the shittest race, and all you want to say to the media when you do an interview is, "I fucking hate this," and you know you just want to go off on one, and then your PR woman just gives you a card that says, "I want to thank the team for the," and they just have to read it out, don't they? And it's just like all they want to do is whinge and have a cry about it, and tell the world how unfair it is. But yeah, you take it back to the factory.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. We're going to push and keep trying harder. There's a big mountain to climb for within this championship, but it's still all to play for, you know.
Well, I mean, there is all to play for, because there might be a Simpati Racing water bottle and pen that could be offered to the winner.
Nice.
There's all sorts of stuff going on at the moment in the merch store. So, but yeah, it was a
How
good
many
race,
races
guys.
have we got left? 2?
3.
2 more?
It's-
3.
it's-
Make space in my display case.
I think it's
for it.
4. I think it's yeah.
Oh no, it's 4
left.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's 4 left. Yeah, we extended it this season because it was a bit short.
Yeah, it's Ford Spec Racer next week.
Ford Spec Racer. I remember that car.
Oh.
The new one.
It's been changed now, isn't it?
Oh,
Has
of
it got
course
a
it
better
has. Yeah,
gearbox and that?
they've redone it. Gen
Wait.
3, Generation 3, I think it is now. So
Quick now.
It's much faster, and I think it's much more stable.
Yeah, it was horrible before braking. The back would just come round every time, pretty much.
yeah. Well, that would be
I'll
quite
go on
interesting
that now.
actually. I think we're getting close to it. But I think this is it. I think this is the lap. Those who are watching the stream, that is. I think this could be the what happens here. It's we'll see Osley battling with the invisible wall.
I reckon. What lap is this? 7?
No, it's
Actually, that was a little. That was no. Actually, no. This is way earlier. This is way earlier.
How are you not even past lap 6 on
It's
incident?
because every time you guys murder a cone, it generates a bloody incident. Let me just try. Yeah, because we've still got Daniel who's still doing drifting. There's Max coming in for his 3000th pit stop.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we had to do 3.
Either Max has been drinking tonight, has got a really weak bladder, and had to keep going to the toilet. Or he just crashed the car loads of times. Yeah, because Daniel's still out. He's still doing his drifting. I think this is the point where Daniel was just doing his drifting around just for drifting points.
He came in thinking he was going to do that anyway.
Oh, what happens here then? Some nice fluorescent liveries there. Oh, that's nice, Matt. Let him go. come on. Let's just go to the incident. It's even showing incidents in the pits. It's just ridiculous. Oh, don't know where that cut. That was Nate Jordan, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Nate Jordan. Who was the orange? Who was the orange, white, and black car?
That would be me, Roderick.
Where were you going? Just
What
then.
do you mean, where was I going?
It was in the pit lane. You were going in the opposite direction to everyone else.
I don't think so.
Unless it was just the the viewpoint. I'm on the zoomed out TV version, so it might just be you was on track, but on the other side. It
I
looked
went
like
backward to the T2 once because I spotted, but that was
no, it wasn't that then. It was just me then. Apologies. It looked like you were going the complete opposite way on the same piece of track, but
no worries.
It was lap 14.
let's go to lap 14 then. This is, oh my god, we're on lap 11. Right. Right, here we go then. Ooh, yeah, you can see the brakes on because the front end's down. It's just unfortunate that. Where's the? Yeah, I mean, you so did the right things. Like, oh my god, let's just get off the track. This car's coming round, and then it's just like you've just hit these two invisible walls.
Yeah.
And you can see it because the cone automatically just resets straight away, and that wall that's just. I mean, that's just. Think about it. I mean, that was just absolutely painful to watch. It really was.
Being stuck in the pit lane, not.
It's just. It's almost like.
Oh, Austin Powers it.
It was like. Where's the? There we go. Yeah.
It's like my wife parking.
Honestly, it was like watching a learner driver on their test. Because I mean, I guess for you, it's like obviously because you were battling there for I think P4 at the time. For you, it's all about you're just losing time. So you're not really thinking, well, what the hell is going on?
Like even the car's getting damaged as well because of that bloody wall.
Yeah, well, there's two of them because it was just in front of the cone and behind you, so it was sort of the car just bouncing off. But yeah, I felt really bad for you for that. It couldn't have gone any worse really.
It's alright though.
There's always next week.
I know Matt didn't do it intentionally, and
I hit the wall on the next lap
racing
as well, so
yeah.
I got wheel damage and that's going to the pit. So I think
But overall, it's just
got me back in a
racing
minute.
incident.
Yeah,
we got a new intro, boys. It's a new intro. I don't know if you've seen it, but.
Wow, that's fancy.
Nice.